I'm here with Hammarbys new head coach, Gregg Berhalter. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
It's a new face and a new name. Can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Sure. Obviously, I came from the LA Galaxy, and before that, I spent 15 years as a professional player in Europe. I represented my country in 2 World Cups, and now I'm here.
And the last year you've been assistant coach in LA Galaxy.
Yes, and I think it was a great experience under probably arguably the most popular, the most regarded coach in U.S. history, Bruce Arena. So it's been a great learning experience.
But now you leave sunny California and come to coach a team in Sweden's second division. Why would you want to make that move?
I don't see it just as a team in Sweden's second division. I look at the great tradition Hammarby has. I look at the great possibilities it offers. And for me, it's a great stepping stone. I think it's a great place to express my ideas and to get a team moving in the direction that I see fit. And for me, it's a great opportunity.
So when did you first hear about this opportunity?
I would say it's been in the works for about 2 months, where I first heard there was a coaching vacancy there. And, I was asked if I would have any interest, and I immediately said yes. And from there, it's been progressing to where it is today that I'm head coach.
Was this the first time you ever heard about Hammarby, the club?
No, of course not. Being in Europe, Hammarby, it was always one of the top teams in Sweden, and I heard a lot about it. I was, the time I was in Holland, they were actually playing in the UEFA Cup against a team that was really close in proximity to where I was. So Hammarby is a known entity.
This is your first job as head coach, and Hammarby is one of the biggest clubs in Sweden with all the expectation that follows. Are you sure you know what you're getting into?
Well, I think it's going to be a learning process, of course. There's no doubting that I'm not a finished product in terms of my coaching, but I believe that there's a lot of room to grow, and I think that the club and myself will do it together. And I think that there's talent in the team, and that needs to be brought out. There's a mentality in the team that needs to be established, and what we want to put on the field is a product that's ready to win games, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah, and of course you've seen quite a few games on DVD from Hammarby's season. What are your impressions of the team?
I think the team was okay. It was decent, but like I said, there's room for improvement. I think that we want to show more passion. We want to show more drive. We want to show more variation in our attack, more speed in transition. I think there's a lot of technical things that can be improved, and it's going to be a lot of hard work. And I think that come January, it's time to roll up our sleeves and get to work.
And there's a lot of things happening until next season. I mean, there's a lot of position in the squad to fill, and I guess you're going to be a key figure in that process. How do you view that process?
It's like putting a puzzle together. There's a lot of pieces that we need to get in place to make the whole thing work, and we're still in that process right now, and it's gonna take some more time, but we're going to get there. We're going to put together a squad that we believe is capable of performing.
During your time in Europe and of course in the States as well, you've encountered a number of coaches. Is there any one of them that influenced you coaching-wise?
It's a good question. I think that looking back on it, I'd probably say that I've taken a bit of something from almost all of my coaches. In Holland, I had one guy who was very, very strict and very disciplined, and I had one guy that was very young and enthusiastic, and from them I learned something. In England, I learned something from. In German, I had coaches that I'd taken some more exercise and some more drills from. And of course, in LA, Bruce is an excellent man manager, and he knows how to motivate a team. So, I take that from him. But I would say it's a combination. I wouldn't single, one coach out saying I learned everything from him. It's more of a combination of my experiences.
So, what's your football philosophy?
the philosophy is obviously you want to play attractive football, but I think it's more than that. You need to be effective, and what we want to do is we want to have a ball possession. We want to combine a lot of combinations, but variable combinations where we get our backs attacking, where we get midfielders attacking, and try to unbalance the opponent as much as possible.
What would you say you are like as a leader?
I would say that I'm a disciplined person, and I expect that of the players as well. And I think that I'm a fair person, and I'm a person that someone can talk to, but I demand professionalism, and I demand work. And I think that I'm willing to do that myself. So I lead by example, and hopefully the players will catch on to that and see that, listen, we're all in this together, and we need each other to be successful. And I think I'll bring that out.
The fact that you were a defender as a player, is that gonna show in the way you coach the team?
I think there's going to be an emphasis on getting the defending right. I wouldn't say we're going to be a defensive team, but when we do defend, we're going to do it properly. And I think there's a difference. Obviously, you want as many offensive accents as you can get, but we need to defend properly and let in as few goals as possible, because the good teams and the successful teams don't give up a lot of goals.
So how is Hammarby gonna perform or behave so that to make Gregg Berhalter happy?
Well, we're gonna win games. I would say, expanding on that would be that we're gonna give a great effort, and we're gonna be organized in how we play and how we represent the club. And I think that's the first step.
Okay, thank you very much, and welcome to Hammarby.
Thank you.